Hey everybody, come on in. This is Conspiracy Theories and Chill. We got a cool show planned today. We're going to get back to our roots a little bit. This is an actual conspiracy, what we're going to talk about today. This is the story of Ong's hat, and it's fascinating. Babos suggested this topic. So we're going to get into that, and we're going to explore the story of Ong's hat and anything else you guys want to get into. That's the way Conspiracy Theories and Chill always goes. So we talk about everything on this show. And real quick, I am going to share something to Facebook, and this is the YouTube link to this very same show. So you can come to YouTube and watch it over there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'd really appreciate that. But we are going to get going here in just a minute. I give a little bit of time for people to get in and settle in, invite your friends, share, get this out. And because we're going to start the video, I made you a video. We're going to start the video. Hey, Dion. Hey, Helen. Good to see you guys. Hey, Steve. Hey, Paul. Good to see some people here. Share this out. I'm going to start the video in just a little bit, in just a few minutes, and we'll play that. It's about 12 minutes long. Then afterwards, we'll get into it. We'll kick around more. The video usually just gets the conversation going. And a top fan, hey, what's up, Paul? Good to see you here, man. But in just a minute, we're going to start the video, and it's the story of Ong's hat. Very fascinating. I don't want to ruin it. But like I said, we're getting back to our roots. This one is a conspiracy. So a lot of times we talk about truth, and we'll get to truth. We will talk about some truth too. But come on in. I'm going to bring the film strip in just a minute, and we'll start the video. But real quick, let me do our plugs. We are a professional show. This is a professional live streamer now. Hi, everybody. I'm Sean. You can support our shows in the comment, in the description of the show. There are links to my Patreon and my PayPal. You can support our shows and support what we're doing here. But this is the Conspiracy Theory Show. This is my baby. And tonight's topic, as I said, is Ong's hat. So I'm going to bring in the film strip, and we're going to start the video in just a minute. And I made you a little video. That's the way this show works. So let me explain for anybody just getting in, and since we're about to start. The way this works is I make a little video to get the conversation going. Today's topic is Ong's hat. So you may be wondering what that is even. It's interesting, right? Sounds interesting already, even if you don't know what it is. But I'm going to show you the story of Ong's hat, and then we're going to talk about that and anything else you want. So whatever your favorite conspiracy is, feel free to comment in the description and tell me what you want to get into, because we're going to get into a little bit of everything. If you've never been to one of these, you'll find that we go all over the place. We get into a little bit of everything on Conspiracy Theories and Chill, and nothing is off limits. So anything you want to get into, let me know and we can explore it. I'm pretty well versed in most conspiracies. You know, I can at least hold my own, but I would love to hear about new ones. And Ong's hat was a new one for me. So this is interesting for me as well. And I actually want to learn a little more about the whole thing, you know, and explore it a little deeper because it's fascinating. And I'm sorry I'm stalling because it's giving me trouble. I'm trying to load up the video and get it ready to go, but it's giving me trouble. So I'm going to small talk while I wait on my computer to catch up, so you'll probably hear the video start on its own. But come on in and, like I said, share and subscribe. If you're here on YouTube, please subscribe. I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers. I told you the video would start playing. We're going to look into. But I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers. We are almost there, and it's an amazing channel. You will love it, I promise. So subscribe over to YouTube, and I'd really appreciate that. It's a great way to help me out. But we're going to bring in the film strip now with no further ado, and I'm going to show you the video that I made for you. And it's on Ong's hat, and then afterwards we'll hang out and talk like normal. Here we go. Welcome back to Conspiracy Theories and Chill. On this episode, we're going to look into a very fascinating conspiracy theory that originates from a tiny little village with the odd name of Ong's Hat, located in New Jersey, where some say that a duo of rogue scientists who were living off grid in a small commune created a portal to another dimension that still exists there hidden today. Remember to like and share, but most important, subscribe to follow our channel and keep up on our future videos. Ong's Hat, New Jersey is a popular tourist attraction to this day, and the reason for that is that many people believe that a portal to another dimension exists there. Now, there isn't really anything to see at Ong's Hat. That whole area of New Jersey became less and less populated with the dying out of local industry, and Ong's Hat has no residents and is mostly just piles of rubble and overgrown abandoned buildings. Matter of fact, before the events that we're going to cover in this video, Ong's Hat's most interesting story was how the little town got its strange name. See, Ong was a common name in that area back in the time of the town's founding, and it's said that a man by that name that lived back then was quite a ladies' man. It's also said that he was very fancy as well and owned a beautiful silk hat. And one night he was out at a dance doing his thing and working the ladies, and a jealous lady is said to have snatched that beautiful silk hat right off his head in a fit of rage and stomped on it and then flung it as high as she could up into a tree. Now Ong was furious, of course, and devastated about the loss of his beautiful hat, but it was gone now, and it belonged to the tree, and it stayed there, and it is said to have become a landmark, and that's how this town has earned its strange name. Cute little story, right? But other than that, it would have just become another forgotten ghost town. But based on interest created by a book entitled Ong's Hat, The Beginning, in which the author, Joseph Matheny, presents a history of events that, according to his book, took place in this area of New Jersey. So Ong's Hat is still an area of great interest among conspiracy theorists. Now, what Matheny presents in his book is disputed by many and is widely considered to be a hoax. But the purpose of this discussion isn't really to prove it either way, just to present the story, and then we can all come to our own conclusions. Now, the story of Ong's Hat really begins with the Newark founded Moorish Science Temple. Now, the members of this small sect traveled the world learning different philosophies and spiritual practices and such from all different sorts of masters and teachers that they seeked out all across the earth. Well, one of these travelers and members, named Wally Fard, bought up 200 acres in 1978 in the New Jersey Pine Barrens. There, he and a small group consisting of runaway boys and a pair of lesbian anarchists formed a new exclusive sect of their own, which they called the Moorish Science Ashram. Soon after, Fard began publishing a series of newsletters proclaiming his beliefs and distributing them, and soon many others began flocking to his land to join his commune. Now, among these were two scientists who were looked down on and ostracized by the mainstream for their radical ideas, Frank and Althea Dobbs. These twins from Texas, who were raised in a UFO worshipping cult founded by their father and were already used to living life on the fringe, settled into this commune and set up a laboratory for their research. Now, it is said that it didn't take long for them to start making discoveries that blew the minds of the people of the commune. But their research hadn't just begun. It had started at Princeton, where they had developed a series of equations that had led them to a discovery that they referred to as cognitive chaos. And when they presented their thesis, the university dismissed them, and their research continued at the commune at Ong's Hat. Now, in the commune, they were free to explore their ideas. And their theories were based around the idea that humans could tap into the unused portions of their brains and attain superhuman abilities like self-healing and even stopping the aging process. Now, based on what they had seen coming out of these twins' laboratory, the ashrams adopted their research into their own philosophy, and together they founded the Institute of Chaos Studies. Badass name, right? But think for a second of the possibilities of this scenario. Two scientists pushing the limits of the mind and reality with a devoted group of followers behind them. Within 3 years, it is said that the twins in the Institute of Chaos Studies had invented a device that they called the gate. And with this device, they would hook people up to computers and chart their brainwaves, experimenting with sex, drugs, and mind wave manipulators to learn how to control the chaos that they had found within the mind. The gate would lead to other devices, and one of these, called the egg, was a kind of modified sensory deprivation tank that would fit a human being and equipment. And when it was tested, the egg is said to have disappeared and then moments later rematerialized. The young man on board claimed to have traveled to another dimension. He claimed that it was exactly like our world, but uninhabited. It is then said that the ashrams and the members of the Institute of Chaos Studies began traveling back and forth to this other dimension and exploring it. Soon after this, there was a chemical spill at nearby Fort Dix, and the ashrams and members of the Institute of Chaos Studies had to flee the area. But they didn't head out in the usual way. They are said to have fled the area interdimensionally, that they used the egg to transport themselves and all of their possessions to an alternate dimension, and that the gate and portal still exists there today, and that they travel back and forth. Now, that's one version of what happened to the ashrams and the ICS members. But another is that this research, and in particular the gate itself, attracted the attention of the government. Now, according to some, this interest led to a violent confrontation in which the group was slaughtered and their research was confiscated. But in all scenarios, they are gone. Now, did they go to a different dimension? Did their research get confiscated? Did they really make the discoveries that they claim to have made? Is the legend of Ong's hat even real? Now, officially, the entire thing is considered to have been a hoax created by the author Joseph Matheny and his friends. It is an elaborate hoax and has some interesting evidence, but that is also all said to have been fabricated by the author. Now, among the evidence for the events is a book catalog called the Incunabella Catalog, said to have been posted by Matheny himself on the internet. As a matter of fact, Matheny even says he made it all up, including the Incunabella and all of the evidence as a game. But to this day, people still believe in this story and the evidence despite all of that. So why is that? Well, there was a commune in that area in that time. We talked about them. And there was a nuclear leak at Fort Dix and many strange military exercises in that area around that particular time. And that's where it all gets difficult. See, as viewers of this show know, I am a contrarian, and this part is where the Ong's Hat story takes a weird turn for me. For decades, researchers have pored over all this evidence that was, according to the official narrative, made up by a science fiction author and his friends. Now, I didn't take the time to pore through it myself, and as I said, we're just exploring the theory here today. But people have investigated it for decades, and they believe that it is real to this day. Now, does that make it real? No, of course not, but it does make it interesting. The idea that this did happen and was covered up is interesting as well. Imagine that this story is true for a minute, that two scientists and a small commune of believers uncovered some secrets about the human mind, reality itself, and what if they discovered travel to another dimension? What would those in power do if they found out about that? I don't know. Would they storm the compound, wipe them out, take whatever they had discovered? I think that they would. I also think that they could. But did they? Or did a sci fi author and his scientist friends really create a hoax so elaborate that it has survived for this long? I found compelling evidence from both sides on this one. The believers are painted as crazy, but are they? The believers are always painted as crazy. They always make it look like you have to be insane to believe something like this. Well, there's evidence for things like this. And one of the smartest men that ever lived, Nikola Tesla, had experiments similar to things like this, talked about things similar to this. And this melding of quantum physics and deep religious belief in drugs and sex and all the things that they talk about that they had done, it's not unbelievable. And it's not even unbelievable that those in power would take that technology and that research. I believe if something can be done, it probably is being done. It probably has been done. Or someone's attempting to do it. We live in a madhouse in a world of lies. So who knows really what is true? As I've said, Ong's hat is said to have just been an elaborate hoax. Even the author himself came out and said that he made it all up because he says it started to ruin his life. Conspiracy theorists showing up at his house trying to get him to tell the truth of it all. But if you look into it, in Cunabella catalog itself, it's very detailed, it's very in depth, and it includes a lot of scientific research. And then all of the other things that had to have been put together, like the documents that came out of the ashrams and Fard's publishing of his newsletters. All of this, it's very elaborate. Now, they say it's the earliest version of what they call today an ARG, basically a living novel, a role playing game. Now, it could be, or it could be a massive cover up. Like I said, we didn't take a deep dive into this one. We didn't try to prove whether or not it was real. I thought it was an interesting story. It was a recommended topic by Babels, so we looked into it. It was very interesting. And if there's any interest, I'll look into it deeper. Ong's hat actually turned out to be an old conspiracy, but as I told you, is one that lives to this day. And Ong's hat is a popular tourist attraction to this day. There is still interest in this story, and it is still out there. So if you'd like more information on this story, I'll include some links in the description on how you can learn more about the legend of Ong's hat. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Conspiracy Theories and Chill from me on Things and Stuff. All right, that was the video, guys. And we're going to talk more about Ong's hat. There was a lot that I didn't include in that video that we're going to kick around right now. I alluded to the fact that I think that there is a possibility that the government covered this up. Now, and as far as the record goes, as far as everything official, and as far as what I'm going to tell you is true, this is supposedly the first major internet hoax. This was apparently, officially, a hoax. The author says that he made it all up. He says he made all of it up. Now, he based it on reality. There was a group that we talked about that had set up a commune. This man, Wally Fard, had bought 200 acres in the Pine Barrens, and he set up a commune. And he had his own philosophies, his own beliefs, and he put out a newsletter. Well, through that newsletter, he got a lot of people coming to his commune. Well, among these people were these two scientists that had been kicked out of Princeton for their research. And it is said by the author that they delved into their research, which was into something that they called, I forget it from the notes, but it was chaos something. And they were experimenting with the human mind, with the limits of the human mind, the potential of the human mind, and even the possibilities of alternate dimensions, which they, or the author claims, and people believe that they did. Now, and if you noticed in the video, it was kind of funny because every time I said the word, I messed it up. But the book, the documents that were released, the Inoculum, I can't say it right, but that book, that research that was released, it was released online. One of the first things that was ever information released that way. It's very interesting if you look at it in the history of the internet kind of way, because that's the way they're selling it. That it's a huge internet hoax and it's just a lie. But like I said, I found compelling evidence on both sides. There is evidence that there was a lot of military drills in that particular area in the Pine Barrens. And like I said, the nuclear spill at Fort Dix did happen. And then they ended up clearing out that area. Well, the people in this commune were gone. They were just gone. People believe that there is still a portal there to this day because, like I said, the the experiment that they claim to have done, they sent a young man to another dimension, and the young man reported that in this dimension it was exactly like ours. Everything was just like our reality, except there were no people. It was completely uninhabited. So the theory goes that there is still a portal there, and they moved all of their stuff to this uninhabited dimension that was just like ours, and that they come back and for resources and things. So people go there and explore to this day, and in this inoculum, they claim that there is proof that this research is real because it includes like research and information about the egg and information about the gate, and it's fascinating and it's online. You can look it up. I can't say the damn word, but it's in it was in the video. Inoculum or something like that. It's a weird word. But like I said, officially the author made it up. But there was a man named Wally Fard. He did have a commune, and I couldn't find any pictures of the scientists. That bothered me. But could they have scrubbed all of that? Absolutely. Do I think that's outside of the realm of possibilities of things that could have happened? If this is real, if they really uncovered alternate dimensions and traveled to them, that kind of research, that's stuff like what Tesla was playing with. And they went in and swarmed all his research when he died. So it's not like they don't think that this stuff can be done. And like Paul said, Philadelphia Project, the Montauk Project, they're experimenting with all that kind of stuff. That stuff is not fringe science. It was mainstream. They were doing it. So is it possible that this is real? Yes. It's not outside the realms of possibilities. And I didn't do enough digging. I could do more. I want to do more, actually. I'm kind of fascinated with this. Babel's hit a good topic here. Because if they did, because think about what you could do if you were two scientists that were onto that kind of stuff and you stumbled upon a group of believers that devoted themselves to your research. You had a crop of willing participants in your research. Think of the potential for that. Think of what you could accomplish if it was real. But Paul says, Google and search Andrew Basiago. Your mind will shit its pants. Long story short, he time traveled, and the only known picture of Gettysburg Address was with him in it wearing 80s clothes. Oh my God. That's fascinating. I'm going to Google that right after the show and check it out because I had not heard about that. But I have seen some of that stuff that you're talking about, like weird pictures. Like there's a picture at a Tyson fight where somebody looks like they're holding up a smartphone. And it looks just like a smartphone. It looks like they're filming the fight with a today smartphone. Back when Tyson was fighting. So it's weird. There is some interesting stuff along those lines. I've seen a weird picture, for example, a weird picture from the past with a guy like Paul was saying in 80s type clothes. Like by what I'm saying is he just looked like a store thumb. He's sitting there in a black t-shirt and jeans among a bunch of people dressed differently. That could just be he's the coolest kid in town. You know what I'm saying? But it's a weird picture. There's a lot of stuff like that. And let me check out. I want to see if anybody's commenting in the comments. I haven't looked at YouTube in a second, and I'm sorry about that, guys. What's up, Kilo? Uh, Kilo says, I don't blame them for leaving New Jersey and never coming back. It sucks. And Kilo says, don't know about this one. I'm in New Jersey. Was in the New Jersey National Guard. Too familiar with Fort Dix. Yeah, it happened. It's in New Jersey. It's still a popular tourist attraction in New Jersey. Hey, Jason, watching from the hospital bed in Sydney, Australia. Been here for days. Triple bypass tomorrow in a few weeks here recovering. Cost $0. Well, good luck with your surgery, by the way, and I hope everything works out great for you. And thank you for sharing that part about the $0 because Americans need to hear about that. But man, I'm pushing for you, man. I'm going to be praying for you. I know everything's going to work out great, and I'm sure you're getting amazing health care. And here in America, in the States, they try to scare our citizens into believing that it's not possible, that we can't have these things. But we can have these things. They enjoy them around the world. So I'm sure Jason's getting the best care, and I wanna hear from you, man. I want to know that everything worked out good for you. But let me see what they're saying on Facebook about this. Oh, that if I were the devil. Oh, I just saw that comment, Paul. That is an amazing speech or talk by I'm going blank on his name, but he is a legend. What's his name? Can't find your comment again, Paul. I swear this computer is terrible. But the new one should be done soon. Um, just a short update on that, just to let you know, because there's people here that helped out with that fundraiser for the laptop, or it didn't end up being a laptop. It's a computer. So I got a streaming computer made, basically custom built for what we're doing now, and everything should be cooler coming up. But there's a couple parts that were on back order, so it's not quite done yet. Any day, as soon as the parts come in, he wants this certain case, and there's a wire that he still needs. I don't know how to build a computer, but it's being custom built, so I'm excited. And any day now, there'll be smoother operation with the computer as far as that goes. But that's something that happens along the way. We get a little better as we go along. What is that guy's name? It's bugging me. Someone else will say it. Paul Harvey, if I were the devil. Thank you, Paul. Yes, I wanted to say Harvey. I kept wanting to say Harvey, but I kept thinking of every Harvey. I was like Harvey Keitel, Harvey this, Harvey that. I kept missing it and just coming up short. But yeah, Paul Harvey, if I were the devil, that is an amazing speech by Paul Harvey. Look that up. I could listen to Paul Harvey talk all day. But what do you guys want to get into? Do you want to hear more about Ong's Hat and what they were talking about there? What kind of research they were doing there? Like we can talk more about what the gate was. The gate was their first discovery when they first started hooking people up to computers and experimenting with drugs and sex and all of this um, to unlock the human mind and to monitor what they found as the chaos of the human mind and to unlock the potential of it. It's fascinating. If this was made up by a science fiction, let's look at it from that side just for a second, because they say it was made up. That's the official story. The official narrative is that it was made up, that this author made up the whole thing. Well, let's believe that for just a second. First off, that's incredibly creative for an author that never got a career in writing off the ground. But let's say he is that creative. And let's say he does have scientist friends. That's not outside the realm of possibilities. Of course, he could have scientist friends. So they could come up with an elaborate game, an ARG, like what they're saying it was, and put it out. And then he just sold it forever and kept putting out information and research. And there were radio interviews with survivors. There's all kinds of stuff. Like I said in the video, when I post to YouTube later after this, you always get the exclusive. But later after this live feed, I'm going to post the Ong's Hat video to YouTube, and I'm going to link it up with some other links so you can learn more about what they were researching there and what they were getting into. Because, like I said, even if it was just sci-fi, it's fascinating. And then the possibility of it, and no, Steve, I don't know the Man from Torrance story. Steve asked that earlier, and I was going to get back to that because it sounded interesting, but I'll have to look that one up. Like, Babel stumped me with the Ong's hat. And then another one she stumped me with, and I was going to do something on it, but I want to look into it deeper, is the secret passage behind Mount Rushmore. I only looked at it deep enough to find out that there is one, but it is shrouded in mystery, so that's neat. I want to look into that more. That was another one that Babe was brought up. These little bugs. I caught it. I caught it. And it lived. Did I catch it twice? I'm amazing. I'm like Mr. Miyagi. I caught that thing 2 times. No, I'm going to have to look up the Man from Torrent. Paul says it's too real to be fake. Dude, it's super interesting, right? I mean, like I said, I'm not going to tell you that it's true, but I'm telling you I think it's likely that it could be. This is just too much for some dude that never accomplished anything else in writing or entertainment to have come up with on his own. And it just seems like what would happen in a cover up where they got a guy coming out and saying, "No, no, no, guys, I made it all up. It's just all from my novel, and I was just trying to make up this game, this concept that didn't exist before with this new tool of the internet." You know, could be, but it's fascinating that they're talking about things that are mainstream, that they do talk about, like other dimensions, other realities, even the concept that we are in a matrix, that we are in a computer simulation. These are all mainstream ideas now. This stuff isn't crazy. And Tesla was researching with it, and we already covered that the government was doing some of Tesla's research into other dimensions and portals and remote viewing and all kinds of things. They and experimenting with using frequency against humanity and against to control people. All kinds of things with the mind and unlocking the mind's potential. That's been going on for a long time. So it's a very interesting story. The Ong's Hat story is fascinating to me. And I think I might do a longer form video on it just to get into it deeper. Because the more I talk about it now, the more I realize there's more I could have went into. Kilo says, hopefully we have the same with Bernie. Oh, the healthcare. Absolutely. That's what needs to happen, guys. I mean, real change. We need to end the greed that is controlling our system that lords over us. On this show, we can talk about them. We can get open and honest about them. They're evil. They're evil. Evil lords over us. These people, they don't look at us as human. They look at us as less than. They don't think we deserve these things. You ever heard the CEO of Nestle talk about water? They don't think we deserve anything. They think we're parasites. There's too many of us. They want to wipe us out. They're Luciferian. These people worship demons literally at Bohemian Grove. Look it up. It's real. That's who lords over us. They associate with people like Jeffrey Epstein. They go to his island. They act like gods. They think they're above everything. They think they can do whatever they want. And since we know these other things are true, that all these things are even talked about regularly now as possible and things they're looking into. You know, Google's even throwing, or Microsoft is throwing a ton of money into brain implants, you know, to control computers with your mind. They're doing all this stuff. And do you think they just came out of this out of thin air? Kilo says the rich suck. It's not just the rich, man. These people are like dragons in a Tolkien novel. They have so much wealth that the money doesn't mean anything to them anymore. That the world is like a game that they're playing, and the lives on the board they don't care about. They care nothing for. They don't value them. us, but their power over us is illusion. It's we don't have to tolerate it. We can rise up. That's what we need to own. That's the good news if we just would. And that's what this show's for, is to speed the awakening. Make information and knowledge fun. Like we're talking about Ong's hat, and I'm open about the fact that as far as I know, it is just an internet hoax. But look, there's all this truth connected to it, and it leads you all kinds of different directions. So that's why it's good. That's why I wanted to do this show and why I think it's a good show to do. Even though it's not popular with the powers that be. This isn't popular speech. Like just the name of the show, Conspiracy Theories and Chill. I like it. It's clever. It tells you what it is right off the bat. Lets you know what you're in for. It's probably getting me throttled on YouTube for sure, because they are against conspiratorial content of any kind. They have actually come out and are bragging, boasting about how much they've shut it down, conspiratorial content. I forget what percentage they got it down, but they've dropped it drastically by throttling it. So naming the show Conspiracy Theories and Chill probably isn't so smart as far as branding when I'm using these platforms to put it out, but I like it. It's cute. I don't know what else to name it. I've thought about naming it Pet and Kittens. I think we could get more views if we named it Pet and Kittens, because truth is not encouraged. Kilo says Ong's hat isn't far from me, about 70 miles. From what I hear, there's nothing there to see. People still go there and try to find this portal because they believe that it exists and that it's still there. Um, but as far as I know, no one's ever found it, and there's just the remnants of people living there. Like you can tell there were people there. There's like overgrown trailers and huts and things like that. But as far as I know, there's not much to see. Steve says the man from Torin, guy lands at Japanese airport with passport from a country that doesn't exist in the 50s. They put him in a room with a guard at the door. Next day, he had vanished. Wow. That's cool. Yeah, share that with me. That would be fun to cover too. See, I find a lot of cool things through this show, and like we share information. And what I think is cool about it, and why I think it works so good, is we do work off the comments. And I always talk like I have a mouse in my pocket. I work off the comments. So the more you guys talk, the better this show will be, and we can keep going. We can talk about any conspiracy you want, by the way, anything at all. But Paul says, look up secret cave in Grand Canyon. It is rumored to have Egyptian glyphs and treasures. Wow. Paul says they created Epstein to be the face of their bullshit. Now, you always have to be skeptical. He's right in a lot of ways. Whatever they let you know isn't going to be the whole thing. Now, Epstein is just a piece of it, and they're trying to downplay it. But what's been exposed here is really big. We need to grab hold of it and don't let go. They made this slip up on purpose, though, in a way. He's right. They always let you know. That's one of their rules. I'm not saying for sure. I'm just saying it's one of their rules. They let you know. They do everything in plain sight. And, they feel like that is letting us know, through different means, even movies, all kinds of ways. And then when we're silent, we consent to what they're doing. That's the way they rationalize it. That's how it works for them. Steve says the passport was genuine. That's fascinating. And there's weird stories like that, and that's what's fun about this show, is because we can explore them. But what if they're true? Just what I've heard from Steve's story about the man from Torn. That's fascinating. What if it's true? What if Ong's hat is true? What if it's not a hoax? What if they're covering up some discovery that was made? Because these wouldn't be the first scientists that were exploring research or avenues that were unpopular. You know, it wouldn't be the first time. Jan says Walter Cronkite. That's one of the last real newsmen, you know, because that's how they've done it is slowly over time. You know, there was a time when you could listen to things coming out of that little flickering box in your living room, but those days are long gone. You know, now it's a weapon of mass deception. It's very harmful and dangerous even, and it needs to be brought down, rebuilt. We don't have a good media system. We have a propaganda system. Steve says he said his country was between France and Spain, a parallel universe. That's neat. I'm gonna definitely look at that. That's awesome. I like finding new ones like that. There is a couple that while we're talking, this is just we can talk about anything you want, but there's a couple I'm thinking about redoing. Like I did the Denver International Airport. Are you guys familiar with that one? I can get into it a little bit if you want, but I made a video on it. But when I watch it, it sounds like I'm in a race to the end. Like I'm talking so fast, and it was a short video, and I remember why, because I was trying to get it done. Because I try to do a new video for you guys every week on this show, and that takes a lot of work. So I was rushing to finish it to get it done, and I want to redo it just because it's fascinating. The Denver International Airport, I'd actually like to go there and explore it myself and take some footage. And I want to start doing videos like that with footage, you know, just stock footage. Because I like this particular channel on YouTube, True Stream Media, and a lot of their videos are just stock footage that they shot. It's interesting to watch while they talk. You know what I mean? Just something to look at other than still pictures. So just other venues and other areas that there's things coming up in the future that we're trying out and experimenting with. But let me know, you know, anything you guys want to get into. This is a live show. So anything you want, we can talk about. We can get into Ong's Hat more and the research they were doing there and whether you think it was real or what do you think? No, tell me what you think about Ong's Hat, just for instance. So do you think that it's possible that there was these scientists that made these discoveries and then either escaped to another dimension or were wiped out and the story covered up? Do you think that's possible? I think it's possible. It's not outside the realm of possibilities. And that's sad that I have to say that. That's a sad report on the state of things, but it's true. That's the world we live in, that something like that could have happened. You know, I don't feel like it's outside the realms of possibility, but what do you think about stuff like that? What do you think about parallel universes, for example? You know, anybody that's here, there's a couple here on YouTube and Facebook, but go ahead and let me know what you guys want to talk about and what things that you want to explore on conspiracy theories and chill. So this is the audience participation part. I've went on about Ong's Hat and beat that as much as I can. I'm going to add some links after though in case you want to look at it more. Excuse me. But thanks for watching the show and thanks for hanging out and looking at Ong's Hat with me. I hope you had a good time. Steve said someone else did a story on that airport bazaar. The horse killed the sculptor. Oh yeah, Denver International Airport is fascinating. The horse, Lucifer, that's not his real name. That's just what they call him, like all the locals there, and that's what his legend name is. And everybody talks about this horse. It's first off a demonic blue horse. It's huge, big statue. One of the first things you see as you're coming into the airport. And Paul said he sent me the Gettysburg Picken Messenger. Right on, man. I'm gonna check that out right after this. But um, What was I saying? Oh, right when you come into the Denver International Airport, first thing you see is this apocalyptic horse, right? And he has red laser eyes and he's just demonic looking. But he literally killed his creator. When the statue was being erected, the head fell on the sculptor and crushed him. So it's just real creepy. And that's just the start of the creep at Denver International Airport. They seem to have at least built it in like a theme park. The Illuminati and imagery and demonic things and all sort of stuff. They seem to have at least built it in like a theme park. Now maybe they wanted it to be a tourist attraction, but they play up to it even. They even have it in their advertising and they talk about it all the time. So they own it. But a lot of people believe that what it really is a massive underground bunker for the elite. And there's evidence to that. We talked about it in the underground bunkers episode recently. But I want to look at that pic. Paul said he sent it to me in Messenger. I'm going to leave this for now and look at that pic because I can't wait. I'm impatient. Let's see. That is interesting. Wow. I'll have to look at that more. We'll look into that. Thank you for sending that to me. But what do you guys want to get into? Tell me before we wrap up. We always do an hour, but I can do longer. We started going on at 8 to allow us more freedom to be able to do a longer show. Anything you guys want to get into at all, we can get in. But I thought Ank's hat was fascinating. I like that, and I do think it's possible. And I do think that it's not outside the realm of possibilities that they took this research. Steve says there's a series of bizarre paintings in that airport. There's a lot of things. The mural's very bizarre, and the mural paints an apocalyptic view of things to come, people think. It's interesting. But I want to do a new video on it because I think I rushed it. Um, Sometimes that might be the downfall with doing a new video every week, but that's why sometimes now I've been interviewing people and um, last week we just did a rant for the thing. It was on social media being a weapon. But I'm trying different variations to give me more time to work on full-length topics. I'm actually thinking in the future of doing some full-length documentaries. One I'm writing and planning. I've been working on it forever though. Paul knows this on MK Ultra, but it's so detailed. And then I have everything I want to get into about how I feel like they still do it. That the MK Ultra program is still carried on and used to this day. So there's a lot of different things coming up on Conspiracy Theories and Chill and on the YouTube channel. So follow us and subscribe to the YouTube channel because everything hubs out of me on things and stuff on YouTube. And that's where most of my shows are. Everything I do actually is on YouTube. So if you dig the show and if you like this show, you can catch old episodes on YouTube. We've done a lot of different topics. But let me know what you guys want to see coming up. I have some stuff that I've been researching to talk about coming up. Like I'm planning on doing a show on the Nephilim. So I've been studying on that. And that's very interesting. And that originated because somebody wanted me to cover giants. You know, if there were ever giants walking the earth. There's evidence for that. So somebody wanted me to explore that. That led me to the Nephilim, and that's where I've been researching pretty heavy lately. But I'm working on a lot of things coming up. But anything you guys want to see covered on a Conspiracy Theories and Chill, let me know, because we can get into absolutely anything. But Paul says just do the short vids live and the extended version on YouTube. Yeah, That's why I do them bite size. And yeah, the long video I won't make you sit through. Yeah, the MK Ultra video will be like 2 hours. So when it's finally done, I'm sure it'll be at least at the 2 hour mark. I might make it an epic like a Phil Jackson Lord of the Rings style movie. And it's just getting out of hand. Every time I finish, like I get through the script and then I scrap it. I decide I didn't hit something hard enough, or I go through and I do too many rewrites and then I just throw it out. So then I don't know where to start even, because it doesn't just start with the Nazis. It goes back further than that. You know, the elite, these powerful people, have been doing this kind of stuff for a long time, and they've been in power a long time. They just moved around. They never really lost power. They play both sides. You know what I mean? They're involved in everything, so they always win. You know, it's just the sad state of things. It's the way things are. But Paul says your brain will shart when you look into Andrew D. Pistaggio and Project Pegasus. I'm going to look at that stuff. He's a very well respected and actually ran for president as an independent in 16. Right on. I will check that out. But thanks for watching, guys. This is Conspiracy Theories and Chill, and we do this every week. If you dug this, come back next Wednesday and we'll have a brand new episode. We'll talk about something new. I don't have a topic picked out yet. So, what you want to talk about, let me know and we'll get into it. But support the show if you can. There's links in the description to our Patreon and become a supporter of the show. I would really appreciate that. That'd mean the world to me. But thanks for watching. And if you shared, thank you very much. And thank you to everybody that commented and took part in the show. I appreciate that. That helps a lot. And I will see you guys next week for a brand new episode of Conspiracy Theories and Chill. Make sure to comment and tell me what you want to see. Because I'm going to keep swinging in the dark if you don't tell me. And then, Nissa, I am trying to get somebody to come on to talk about Bigfoot. I want to get this expert that in the field to come talk about it. And then I'll have to get B Live back when I get it lined up. But we're going to do Bigfoot one day too. Anything you guys want. Except, Steve, I'm not covering the Bill Hicks's Alex Jones. Maybe one day I can, but I'm so triggered by it I can't do it. I want to do it, but maybe. One day. But anything you guys want, let me know, and we'll get into it on the next Conspiracy Theories and Chill. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.